Your browser doesn't support this technology, so I need to use Chrome. Sorry.
You guys saw me mess with my nose. Hey to everybody in my real estate investing, both the YouTube channel and for those who are on my Sub 30K Mastermind. This is not real estate investing related. I know half of the audience I have are women and a fourth of them are interested in divine feminine energy and dating. This video in my Sub 30K Mastermind group and this video in my affordable real estate investment YouTube page will self-destruct. I will delete it because it's not real estate investing related. But it is for those who want to sit and listen to me talk about divine feminine energy, dating coach, and whatnot. This is for you because you're going to really like who I'm going to bring on today, who's been helping me. So again, I'm going to say this for my real estate investing, both the Sub 30K Mastermind group, I'm streaming live there, and my YouTube. This is not real estate investing related. This is divine feminine energy. This is dating. So this is for you. And I'm going to say for women only, but whenever I do a women only post, all the men join. So okay. So I'm going to repeat this because I have to. This is a dating. I'm going to bring my dating coach on, tell you guys what I've been doing in the dating world since my divorce, having a good time, share what's worked with me. This is on my real estate investing platform. So I will delete this from my Sub 30K Mastermind group and my YouTube channel. This is for women only. So this will self-destruct. It will not stay up there. So if you're not interested in it, do not watch. If you are, have fun. Like, this is fun. My dating coach is fun. Like, we're having a good time. We have some good stories we would like to share. So this is not real estate. This is dating and divine feminine. That's another platform. I do talk about my feminine energy journey and how I've been incorporating that because my, spirit has been leading me through into the relationship sphere, and it's been fun. So, hey, Glennis, Tyrone, good evening. Do you still do working class neighborhood? Tyrone, this is not real estate investing related. And yes, this is for dating. So I'm going to delete this off of my real estate investing platform. I just know out of my audience, 25% of the people would be interested in this, especially the women, because half of the people I work with are women who are also business women who are dating. I'm actually going to do a series on like how I navigate being a successful businesswoman and dating, which is different. Okay, so again, if you're a man and you don't want to hear about dating, this is not real estate investing or cryptocurrency. This is for women dating, what works as a successful Black woman in the dating film. My dating coach who gets people married, what's been working with her for Black women in the dating world. The other parts of my lifestyle outside of the financial is being a Black woman who is successful dating other Black men. So I've been having a great time. So I want to share what's working with me and working with the coach and why I recommend everyone doing it. So I can understand if you're not into this, that's fine. That's why I'm so clear with my boundaries. This is not real estate investing related, even though it's on those platforms. It is to capture the people who are interested, who are going through this journey as business women, who are also finding love and trying to bring their best selves in their relationships. Love and prosperity to all. Okay, Tyra, you're okay. I still do. Yes, you can watch if you want. So, but I just want to say, like, hey, this is for that. Okay. Hi, Pamela. This video will self-destruct. Which one is? I gotta turn this off. It's gonna be a lesson. Get a dating app. Don't be giving these people your real number. Marlene St. Parrot said, "This video will self-destruct, spontaneously combust. Now I'm off to do lesson one of crypto." Hey Kim, how are you? Hey Gerard. So this is not real estate, not crypto related. This is about dating, being a successful Black woman dating, and what that's like. Because we have all these people talking, but let's talk to Black women who are successful dating. That is what we're doing. Okay. Hey Tiffany.
Oh, hey.
Or Lauren.
Lauren.
Hey Lauren.
It's okay. Hey, what's up, Lisa?
Hey, you're a little to the left. You want to get centered a little bit? Can you do that? Okay. Oh, I see why you're a little, so the glare wouldn't.
Okay, I'm good.
Oh, you're beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Everyone, thank you for having me, Lisa.
Yes.
So my name is Lauren Hobbs, and I teach women typically between the ages of 27 to later 30s to learn how to have fun creating options on the dating scene and choosing their mates. So that's what I do. I primarily, I guess my background, it's influenced by religion. It is influenced by Bible principles, but not just that. Also, just some common sense. Also, data, which I think is very important for us to understand what's going on around us, so that we can make decisions. We can make better decisions that are the best decisions for us, so that we can get what we want.
So let me just start at the beginning of why I'm doing this. So, and we're going to get into it, but I was working with Lauren, who's also a real estate investor, and we were just trading stories about like dating and how she went on her journey and now she's married, how she has helped other people get married. And I was like, oh girl, this is what I'm doing, da 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 da. And we're just going back and forth like for like hours about all the strategies. Some of our strategies were the same. Sometimes she gave me some stuff. I was like, ooh, let me use that. And sometimes I was showing her like, this is what I had to do. And this is what cleared my mind. So it was just really, really fun. And like right now with the Kevin Samuels on the world, I think having women who are successful at their thing, like for me, I am having a great time dating, and I want to get into it because it's the first time I've Lori Harvey'd it, right? Like just dated just to date, like being fully courted, getting on an app, because back in the day that wasn't necessary, right? But Lauren also has her experience, and I want to talk to that. So if you guys want, feel free to ask questions. But it's going to be a little bit of story time and a little bit of just sharing that other aspect. But, you know, as business women, right? And we're all, if you follow me, you're trying to make money. Okay. If you're following me, 80% of you are Black people, and then half of that are women. And you are generally, if you're following me, you're people who have a level of financial success. Dating for us is not necessarily the same depending on our choices, right? And depending on how we let the world see us or how we see ourselves. And I actually don't think it's inappropriate for me to be a successful businesswoman with passive income, multiple streams of income, talking about I'm having fun dating. Like, we don't have to listen to these people telling us that we're not good enough. And that is definitely what they're trying to say. But when we tell you the other side of it, we can get to like how you don't even have to worry, sis, like at all. So it's going to be a little game, a little mindset. And I'll just say from my own journey before we start getting into our conversation, you know, I'm just going to say this. When you're a woman and you've been married before and you get divorced, I feel like for us, we're in this club of we're like, okay, we did this once, so we got this down. So the next time we do that, let's do way better. Because for Black women, like I beat a statistic. I'm in the 60, only 44% get married, right? I'm like, okay, check, got that. You know what I mean? So what happens is once you get married, it's literally a skill set. And I don't think people understand that, because when I got out of it, I feel like the dating coach world is really filled by people who've been divorced, and we really get serious because we know, okay, I use these skills to get married. Well, I want to do and marry this next time. Now that I know I can do it and what it takes to do it. So, and it's a funny thought. No one really talks about it. I haven't heard anyone talk about it, but like it's a very real for people who've been divorced or who are finding love, especially as successful women. Like I'm really talking to successful women out there because we're in a different, especially Black women who are educated and high income. You know, we are 6-figure earners. Y'all know that. You've been following me, right? So we have to do it differently depending on our choices. And there's a lot of crap out there. So I just want to say I'm in the divorce club, but like there, you know, I'm just going to say this one story. I always look at these women who are divorced and they have multiple kids and they get married again and again and again, right? So I'm always, what's that, Lauren?
But they're not supposed to, right? They're
right. No, but the thing what I but you know, and your little if you could talk get your volume up so I can hear you a little bit more. But yeah, and I'd always looked at that like before I was married, like, how did you get married? You got like 4 kids, right? And like, and they keep getting married. And so, and then now I'm on that boat and I have a child and I'm dating and it's going really well. And I'm like, oh, we have a skill set. We have the skills. We can look at a guy, get a target, understand what we want, maneuver to the goal. Like we're hunters and huntresses, like we're the lionesses. And I was like, that's why. So the single girls who haven't been through it, they're just not I don't think they're very cognizant. It's a skill. So when I talk to other women who are divorced, like we all have dating coaches, but no, my single female friends do not. Right. And it's like very much we're aware it's a skill set. And so you just got to get better at your skill and the game. And it's not even necessarily a game, just skills you apply to understanding how everything works. So I just want to start with that for everyone out there. But yes, Lauren, anything you want to say before we get into what we wanted to talk about today?
I was just going to add to that. Can you hear me? A lot of times people think that I think they don't know that it's a skill. The women that I've run into, many of them have been told things that keep them in a passive state. So they don't know that, like, no, there's things that you should be doing. They just think that a lot of them think that they can just, sit back and wait to be chosen. But there's actually there's social skills, there's work that can be done. Even going to where you're hanging out at. Sometimes these women, they just, I don't know, they'll repeat things that they've been told. Oh, well, maybe at this time, God wants you to be single or whatever it is that they believe in. Some source wants them to be single. That's not what the men are. They're not going by that. They're off doing whatever they want, and they're off dating and then ending up married if that's what they choose. But meanwhile, women are just kind of they're not getting the same type of advice that men are getting, and they just don't know. They don't know that there's skills involved in this.
I'd say we get no advice.
Yeah. Even from their women friends. They don't typically get they don't get the same kind of advice that men will get among their friends. So it's like, I think that part of that, the women are just confused. They don't know where to even begin.
I agree. Like for me, it was easy when you're younger, like in college and in your 20s, because, when I was in my 20s, I was in DC. So what do? You and your group of friends go to the bars every night. You go to house parties. That was like the easiest way. And that's how I found my husband. Then I moved to DC because that had the kind of, and we're going to have to talk about this. It's so funny. I had to tell my girls to move. They had the kind of men that I wanted, right? I wanted educated and professional, just a little bit higher class, right? Mm-hmm. So I went to DC, and within 10 months of being in DC, I found the man who was going to be my husband, right? And so there's it was easy then, right? But you get to an age where I'm divorced about a couple of years ago, and I'm like, okay, I got to do these dating apps because I had the luxury of not having to do that, right? So then that's where I went about it so much more strategically because I never had that. But I actually think these dating apps are amazing because if you never had that opportunity to just get to know men and not be stuck on them and just go out and have fun and not be so worried and have the numbers, because you can get on as many apps as you want, you get the numbers. to attract them to you, where you really are just being courted and you're attracting. And especially if, me on my spiritual side, I'm all about manifesting. But as long as you draw in exactly what you want, like, you really do have a steady source of people who are attracted to you. Like, you don't have to chase anything. And so that's really cool. And FYI, I actually don't tell them how much money I make. They actually don't know.
They don't
I'm
know.
a business owner. They don't know what I do. I actually tell them I'm a healer and I'm building my healing business. I don't tell them I got books.
No
Then
need.
they're not going to know. Sorry, my cat. And they're not going to know. So I just want to say there's a lot of different things we got to do a little differently. So let's talk about what Lauren she wanted to get some things, because she's been working with women in her Christian sort of circle. And she's had to rewire their brains, their programming, because of a lot of, and let's get into it, Lauren, because they don't want you taking it easy. So we're going to talk about pastors. We're going to talk about pastors. But let's talk about it. Like, she's had to reprogram them. I'm not necessarily in the church, so I didn't have necessarily the same programming as them. So Lauren, I'd like you to talk about what you consistently saw as you were going through this process in your own growth and journey to learn these skills and to get what you want, versus what the women you were around were believing, and you had to literally just remove them. And tell me, like, the race and demographic, because it does come into play, what you're seeing.
Okay, so I think, first of all, there were women that I ran into. Some of them would say things like, I'm just gonna let God pick someone for me and plop them in my lap. Like, he's gonna make someone specially for me. And I'm like, okay, but you're getting to the point where you're reaching your 30s, and it hasn't really worked out like that yet. You see all these other people around you who are getting paired up. Do you, even myself, I was dating, I was getting paired up, and I'm like, I'm not any more special than you. I'm not going to give you that same story and tell you that, God made someone special for me and that I didn't use free will, when I know good and well that I was out there. I was out there meeting people. I was working on myself. I was leveling up my mindset. I was doing the work required. I was working on social skills. And I was, snatching numbers. I was meeting people, and I wasn't so focused right away. Like, if I went to a party, I wasn't so focused on, oh, I want to date that one, or I want to date this one. No, first I knew from research that some of this is a numbers game. This is a numbers game. I don't know, if I walk into a room, I don't know that that person is who I want to marry, even if they are like someone who is super good looking. I don't know anything about this person's character. So I gotta get numbers. I gotta know. I gotta figure out who they're hanging around. I don't know who else they know. This is networking first. Networking first to get the numbers up, and then once the numbers are up, then I can start to kind of filter and look at, okay, this one has great character. This one has values that I'm looking for. Can he keep a job? What kind of work does he do?
It's that little thing in our community. We got check.
Yeah, what kind of work does he do? Is he ready for? Does he have like a provider mindset? If he does, if he has these things in order, who does he hang with? He's probably hanging out with other people who have similar characteristics. So, I maybe don't want to just think of, locking down on that particular person. I want to meet all the people that this person knows. Because, there might be great fits all in there, all in their network. So I don't have to just pick the first person that I meet who has certain characteristics. I can actually create a beautiful network of people, of choices, of options that have all of the things that I'm looking for. And I can kind of just I can take my time. I don't have to worry about a biological clock, because some people will try to pull that and put that on you, and pressure you to make you settle, right? Pick them. No, I didn't have to date with that kind of pressure, because I was creating options and I was creating my network. And then I could even, once I got my network situated, I could even go back to some of my girlfriends that, we're still clinging to some of these views that were keeping them passive. And I could bring them into my network and also help them out too. Um,
And what's cool about what Lauren's saying, and we'll get right back to it, is she was naturally in her. You guys know on my spirituality platform, I've been getting a lot of, just the word about divine feminine energy, and it's so different than how we're raised in this very masculine world. So having masculine energy isn't bad, okay? It's just we have to have balance, right? And we're so used to doing and going. Everything she described is that feminine aspect that we don't exercise enough of, that I do have to, I do bring out more and more, which is like, relax. Let what comes to you. Let's enjoy the moment. Not always. You're calculated, a little bit when you go, but when you go, you're not sitting there pressed upon one man, because it's not about that. It's like letting and filtering through and let them come to you. It's all about attraction energy. Now you can go out and network, but you're not sitting there attacking them with your energy, saying you're the one, right? You are vetting the field, and you will let it sift and come to you what makes sense, but you're actively curating that field, right? And it's funny that I speak on divine feminine energy, and like you basically like naturally found that, like, yeah, no pressure, no putting things on them. Let's be let's be strategic, but I don't have to pressure anyone to come towards me. Not that anyone is, but I just don't think we're taught that let's just lay back and enjoy yourself in the moment and curate a field, so then later you can do it, which is a level of strategy. I don't think we're taught. And if you can tell me, when you were going over this and you're working with, you worked with different people, was it something that was hard to get the women you worked with to like get through, to like rearrange that thinking of building this network and not pressing so hard on the first guy that says, like, let me get your number, and just be like, okay, but then let me get others too as I'm curating the field, because I haven't made a decision yet. I'm not pressed. Basically, not being pressed. Feminine energy is not pressed.
No, it was very difficult, because it's like they were of the mindset that they would show up at a gathering, a get together, and I don't want to be too forward. It's like they were automatically thinking of dating.
Yeah.
Versus like, no, there's a dance way before you get to the dating that you do. Like, first of all, focus on making friends. Focus on getting your numbers up. focus on the network first. But they tend to just jump right into dating, and they're setting themselves up for failure. They're setting themselves up to put all this pressure on themselves, and then it's no longer fun anymore. And then, like, the minute something happens, the minute something doesn't go quite right, maybe they don't get that number that they want, it's almost like they've been rejected. Like, no, you haven't been rejected. Rejected from what? You're just here having fun.
You're like, relax.
Yes. Relax. Go get a drink. Go get a drink and go make some friends, please. Like, stop being so pressed.
Yeah.
And I remember there was one girl that was like, she told me, I can't ask someone to dance. And I was like, well, why can't you? She's like, I don't think that's not appropriate. Like, it will be too forward. So she goes out and she does it, and she like dances with like 7 people in one night, and she comes back with all these numbers, and she's like, oh my gosh, Lauren, you won't believe I got all these numbers. I'm like, do you understand what I'm saying? Now you've begun to network. Now her mind is open. She sees that she was way too pressed before. Now she's getting numbers every time she go out. She's getting different numbers. And getting to know these different men. She's, got people to who are inviting her out to stuff. She's married now, by the way, but
Oh yeah. Oh, you get results.
but
You get results.
that's how she started. That's how I started with her, and it was just she kind of had I had to get her to do it first before she could prove it. She could see it, and she could see it for herself, and then like it totally changed how she operated, and it also got her some attention from women who could figure out like, wait a minute, what's changed with her? How is she getting all this attention? So that was we had to discuss moving in silence, but that's another topic.
Ooh. Depending on your network, right? Depending on the women around you and if they're doing the work or not doing the work, right? They're doing the work. They're not mad at you because they're too busy getting numbers themselves. But if they're not doing the work,
They're
you
mad.
sort of stick out and they're basically not be pressed. I didn't realize until you started talking, like feminine energy is just not being pressed because what's right will come to you. You don't have to press it. You don't have to chase it. Chasing it's masculine. They're supposed to chase you, but you're going to put yourself out there and, you'll put a little bait, right?
Yeah.
So the bait is her in a relaxed way dancing, but no, I'm not trying to date you. Right. And I can admit, like we all we have so much going in our head about like the outcome versus just being and enjoying. And there's something to be said. So when we're on this and I'm talking about this and sharing this, I'm actually not looking to get married right now. I literally am just enjoying going on. Like I'm in a new town. We've been on lockdown. I'm just enjoying going on dates. Like I've never been just gone on dates with all different guys just to get to know them. Like I love it. Like it's really fun. I don't want to get locked down. And I'm saying that because like it's okay to just want to like experience like being courted. Like I said courted, right? Like the dance of it. And for you, you're like just relax. Don't have such a pressed outcome. Can the outcome be just getting to know people before you really start honing in on if there's someone that you like? Which I like I didn't know Lauren was going to say that, but it's funny. Like it really goes in with like that feminine energy and what we're not exercising, but is so healing. I said for the world to experience when we're not so pressed and we're just sitting in our power, understanding that we'll do a little the work, but the right person will come and just being confident in that versus having to make it happen. Right, Lauren?
Yeah, and I would say like, I knew when I was dating, I knew that I knew I wanted to be married eventually, but I can't possibly know to who. I can't possibly know exactly who I want to be married to. So I think part of the great thing about networking and not being pressed is that it gave me an opportunity to be around all of these different men, have my girlfriends, be around all these different types of men, so they can see all of these different characteristics and qualities that they may or may not like, and then that helped them to get more clarity on what they actually wanted, so that they were in a better position when they saw it. They were in a better position to move accordingly, and surround themselves at some point only with those who met the criteria that they were looking for. But had they not been out there like, being social butterflies and building that network and going on dates, had they not been doing that, they would not know.
So let's take a few of the comments if you want to just talk to them, and then we'll get to like bad advice overload that happens. So Easy Dan says he's single and wealthy because he's single. Easy Dan, after the age of 40, only 9% of men have kids. So if you don't have kids yet, and you're over the age of 40, you're statistically not likely to do it, which is cool. But it's funny. I think some people don't know those. I know a lot of statistics, so you're going to get the numbers and facts with me. But it's hard to settle. That's okay. It just depends on what you ultimately want. Some people don't ultimately want kids in a relationship, and that does have an effect as you're doing it. So I'm all about people being happy and knowing what they want. How about this? So a man can have all the traits, but don't let them be short. You know what?
Who is that? Who?
Fragrance. I don't know. Fragrance place. What kind of name is that? Put your real name down. No,
that like short what?
Here's this. You know what? That's something because my family's short. I'm 5'3". All the men in my family are like 5'3" to 5'8", but they all have women who are taller than them because my brothers are good people, so they can get women, and women love being with them because we have some real fun personalities in my family. And so being 5'3", I take a wide range basically. Like if you're taller than me, I'm cool. And I've dated guys, 5'8", 5'10", 5'6", whatever. Like it's fine. But I see other women who are like, no, if he is under X and X, I won't. And I also see them being in struggle love. And I also see them not having kids and not ever getting married. And that's what they wanted. I'm someone who's like wanted it, but not the way some other women want it. I got other stuff occupying my time. I'm here in service to the world. But yeah. So what do you want to say to that, Lauren? I do notice that, but like the women who are super strict, they're cool. Like it's okay to have your preference. But I also notice a lot of them aren't like, and I'm in a wonderful, loving relationship with the kids I want. It's like hit or miss with that.
I feel it's like everybody else who has to deal with somebody having an expectation or a preference, and maybe they don't meet it for someone. Everybody has different preferences. Find some short women. Find some women who are shorter than you.
I would bring my friends and who are my height, like 5'2", and like my brother would be like, hey, give me her number. I'm like, I get it.
Yeah, we all have to deal with that.
He's just throwing stuff out. So since a woman asks a man can dance, can a woman ask a man to marry her? No.
I wouldn't.
No.
I'm not doing that.
I learned when I was 12 because I was sort of developed, curvy little 13-year-old. Okay. I learned that they'll take it. Like they'll ask for it. Like you walk down the street, you can't hide it. They are throwing themselves, just making it very clear they want it. I just learned from a young age. Any guy will take it if you offer it. Okay. So that's why I learned to be very like, okay, no, you got to make sure they like you because they'll do anything if you put yourself on a platter. That doesn't mean they like you. That just means they'll take it. Does that make sense? I knew that from a young age. So it's funny when I'm seeing these women propose to men, I was like, girl.
I mean, I wouldn't do it, but
I mean, he wants it. If you ask him, a
dance is a dance. A dance is not marriage. Dance is just a dance.
Oh, thank you, Raven. Since 96, the Lord is going to bless you all. I feel blessed, but thank you so much. I have a hard time turning someone down. I feel like I'll hurt their feelings. I'm 57 and on a dating site. Glynis, you got to get on multiple sites, girl. We're going to talk, okay?
What? You got to work on that mindset. Because men turn people down all the time. If you want to get what you want, you got to be unapologetic about what you want. You got to be honest with yourself. And if someone does not meet that and you're just dating, bye. Like,
I say something really nice when they say some off the wall thing that I know not going to work. I'm like, hey, I'm not feeling this connection romantically. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you'll find someone absolutely wonderful and more in your vibe, but it's just not. But for me, I'm just going to end this conversation. Yeah. And I find I get a really, really good response. They're like, okay, or cool. Sometimes they're like, well, da-da-da-da-da-da. I can take their look. Well, I can take it. I'm a big girl. But FYI, that's a really nice way of doing it by saying like, hey, you'll find somebody. I'm just not feeling this romantically, even though you're great. So if that helps, so I generally leave a trail of people who I think they actually like me more after I say that than before. But there's a nice way of handling that. So don't worry. You just have to find the right words. Or get Lauren as your dating coach. We're out there. So what's the best way to get dates? Tamika. Ooh. Before we go on, can I just answer what's been working for me?
Yeah.
So we were talking about this beforehand. Do you have to level up? You don't have to. Okay? You don't have to. You can always find someone who's okay. I've met guys who don't want you to be that gorgeous, to be honest, because they don't want to have to do the work a gorgeous woman takes. They just want to live their life and be normal. Like, you honestly don't necessarily have to level up and do this. But I will say, I'm really spiritual. So like going and doing the makeover and doing that extra work to find out what works for you and I'm in my divine feminine energy journey. So I talk about that on my spiritual channel. So like I'm wearing the dresses, the perfumes, the skirts, the florals. Like I am going more feminine in my appearance. So it shouts without me saying it shouts it. And it is a difference in your attractive power, which is feminine energy. We attract, we don't chase, we attract. So we're like you gotta put yourself out there as bait. So doing that, so I looked at some girls and I was like, nope, you're gonna have to get all dressed up for this photo shoot before we put these pictures on. And that's a different mindset people don't think about. They just put whatever. I'm like, nope, when I talk to my friends, we are curating the best selection, and it's that little extra effort to attract certain things. And then I would say multiple dating sites. And then I would, if you don't have a dating coach, like Lauren looked at my profile. So I was already doing well. I don't want y'all to think like Lisa couldn't get it. Like I know how to get it. But Lauren makes me better. And when you're better, when you're looking for a relationship, that means you get a better quality, right? And she helped me tweak some of the wording. So definitely have your girlfriends look at your profile pic. I would consult with the dating coach, at least just for the profile. But all of those things will help your attractive power for when the people see the profile. Like even her changing the wording, like I wanted this, so I said it like this, was enough to trigger and get like that higher class or higher quality person that I was searching for. So I would say dress up for the pics on your profile. Like you're going to spend, just like when I go do a photo shoot for my business, I did a photo shoot for like every time I looked good, I took a picture knowing it was on my dating profile because that's what I was doing now. So I would recommend that. And I also have another girl who's dating with me, and we call each other and like talk and go, hey, this is what I saw. What do you think of this? And go back and forth what we're going through. And that's really helpful too, because it's like your partner to help you, especially when you get older, because we know that we can be a little stubborn and set in our ways. So it helps have someone outside going like, no, I think you're a little harsh. I didn't take it that way at all. Or going, it's great. But like whatever Lauren wants to say, then we'll get to like what we said we'd talk about here.
I would say look at what are you meeting men, or are you just hanging around the same girlfriends that you normally hang with week after week after weekend after weekend after weekend? Is your schedule always the same? First of all, you can't really get to the dates. It's hard to get to the dates if you're not even meeting men. So I would say you're going to have to open up you're going to have to widen out that network. Do the girlfriends that you hang with, do they hang out with men as well? Do you know any social butterflies that are women that aren't going to have a problem bringing you into their circles where they are co-ed? You're going to have to get around other men. And then once you meet those men, like you need to be working on introducing who you are, just something that could be like, hi, my name is Lauren. How do you know this person? Just small talk, icebreakers. Learn how to give a compliment. It doesn't matter if it's like, hey, those are nice shoes. Where did you get those? Something that will just break the ice and get them talking. Do some small talk. Find out if they're not usually, if you don't normally see them, are you usually around here? Are you usually in the area? Who do you hang out with? Find out, who they know to maybe get their social media information, get their phone number. A number is just a number. It doesn't mean you've asked for their hand in marriage. You're just getting a number. You're finding out what do they do for fun. And then once you start getting those numbers, you can even create your own event. And when you create your own events, you're going to start inviting them. You're going to say, hey, why don't you bring a friend? I'm getting some friends together. And you're going to start, that's how you start making these connections with men. So you want to keep repeating that. I think in the beginning, if you're not getting dates, don't focus so much on the dates yet. Focus on getting your numbers up when it comes to how many men you know. Because you can't get to the men if you can't meet multiple men if you're not meeting men at all.
And what Lauren really was a big part of the experience is the networking, which is why we spent, if you go to the beginning, like she's like, first let's just relax. Everything is the hand in marriage, like building the network and getting used to being friendly and socializing. and with no pressure whatsoever, just building the network because you've made a connection. You sort of know you'd like to know more of them and their friends, and that's it, right?
Focus on being a friend. Focus on having a genuine interest in someone, and you're not acting like there's a motive attached to it. You're just focusing on first being friends with multiple people and getting information.
It's a long game, which is why I'm having fun. So thank you. Thank you. Takum said, y'all are cool. I'll take that. You know, they didn't think I was so cool being this outspoken in high school. They were like, Lisa talks. Lisa has no filter. So I'm glad I'm cool now that I'm like in my late 30s. So thank you. We are finally cool, Lord. It took, a half a lifetime, but now people like what we're throwing out. Do you want to go on to the next, or do you want we'll take a couple? Tamika, we'll follow up with Tamika and one more, and then we'll just continue the rest of the conversation. Y'all just tuck in and get some popcorn, okay? Tamika says, I'm on a site and I'm in the house due to COVID. I get likes on the site and flirts for the site, but no dates yet. Ooh, there is a whole psychology to that, because these guys will have a whole, they'll have a whole. And I have to tell my ladies this who are calling dudes trash. And I'm like, well, that's okay, but we have to manage that. So you don't have a whole relationship through text and phone. And in their head, it satisfies all their psychological needs without them having to do anything. So if you allow them to, feminine energy is about what you allow. If you allow them to without putting up the boundaries, they will do that forever. So one of the things I've been implementing, because I'm doing this strategically. Like I said, if you watch the first part, I know how to get married. We gonna do it this time, okay? We're going for a bigger target, all right? And so I got really skilled up. And one of the things I learned that I've been implementing is look, get them from the text, from the dating site to my personal app. I have an app because I'm not putting my phone number out there for people to be getting salty about it if it doesn't work out. And then from the app to a phone call relatively quickly within 2 or 3 days. Because for me personally, I can talk to you for 5 minutes and no, danger. We're not going to fit. Or oh, wow, there's a sparking connection. It takes literally 2 to 5 minutes. So, and then once we're there, we'll have some of a conversation. But then I'll mention oh my gosh, I'd really like to meet in person. If you don't do it, then you don't get any more phone calls with Lisa, right? So you saw how I didn't force it. I just said, hey, would you like to go from the app to my phone, and then from the phone to a phone call? I just suggested it. They could have said no, but there are consequences. I'm not forcing them to do anything, but there's consequences, and they don't get access to my time and energy. And I do have a lovely energy. Okay, they like my energy. They don't get access to that if they do not step up in the way in which I would like to. So quickly get them through each stage. And if you throw it out that you'd like something and they're not picking up, then your consequences and your actions need to speak louder, and they don't get to keep talking to you on the phone. Because I have one guy really enjoys conversation, but I swear he doesn't want to take me out on a date. And I was like, I'm dating. I'm not here to be your phone girlfriend. I know for you that would be fine. But he's all sad and sending me Grand Rising Queen every morning. And would like to talk. I'm like, ooh, no, right? Because you have that connection and vibe. You know who you vibe with and who you don't. So, and then I would say the other parts just quickly. So I would say just keep moving them. And Lauren's probably going to say more. Sometimes with these things, you wait for the guy to do everything, but it's okay to start and spark a little bit of the conversation, but not go overly too much in your chasing. But I'll just throw in some really cool connective type responses, hey, tell me something fun, or what's your favorite cartoon character? You only get 2, you know what I mean? I'll just throw something a little bit more fun to bring out that lighthearted energy versus that logical masculine energy. So Lauren might have something to say about that.
I was going to say that likes and flirts, they really aren't much. Don't get excited over that. It's something. They have some sort of interest, but it's just not much because there are so many people on these apps. They're swiping left, swiping right, and they're whatever attention that they're getting something. They're getting some sort of fill off of it without really having to put in any effort. So I would agree with Lisa. Get them off of the site. Get them offline as soon as possible. If you guys do end up messaging, you're messaging that person. To to get to know them better, get them on the phone as soon as possible.
As soon as possible.
So that you can try to make a real connection with them. And if they are hesitant or they don't want to, you already got your answer. They're not serious.
Or just trying to get it their way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're not trying to invest.
And, you know, and I'm learning how to be a little bit softer too in this journey as well. Like, I don't want you to think because I haven't had to like really learn like what my emotional intelligence had to really increase, and then increase with this divine and feminine intelligence. Like, how do you let someone know what you want without telling it directly and letting them still have the lead, right? So it's funny. And you're like, can you submit to a man? And it's funny in this masculine feminine energy, like you are submitting, but you're still directing. You're just going about it in a different way where it's not so boom, boom, boom. You're like, well, this is what I would like. So just like, hey, I'd like to talk to you on the phone. I'd like to talk in person to see if this connection's, you know, just text or if it's real, right? But like I said, if they don't take that up, then I cut it off because I do only have so much time. If you guys have been paying attention, like, like I don't have all this time. So if you're not serious, you don't get access to this. So if you start putting those boundaries in, but just making them point to express what you actually want, though, that's your job to express that. Your second job, though, is to accept what he does after you express it, right? And like she said, you got your answers if he's wishy-washy, and being comfortable with that, cutting it off and going to the next, because it's a numbers game. And hopefully I'm on like 4 apps. If I needed to, I'd get on more, but like the apps that I'm on have been fine. And one more question before Melita says heart, 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 heart. Thanks, Melita. This is a good one for you, Lauren. What would you say to someone who's been in a relationship with someone for many years since college, but didn't get to date around yet? Like me, dating. This is like the first time I'm dating ever, right? Like a wide variety. I've never been courted. And it's now having doubts if they're sure they're the right one because they didn't date around. They're a great person. I have my ideas, but I'm curious about Lauren.
That's a hard one. So the person has been with this person for many years. Is the goal for this person to get married? I'm kind of wondering if it is. It hasn't happened yet. Is this person serious about?
Oh, it hasn't happened.
Serious about getting married. If you're having doubts, I guess the person hasn't really dated around. Maybe they don't have clarity on what it is that they want. They're gonna have to think about, what it is that they want. Were they expecting to be married by now? Like, why not? Why hasn't it happened? Does the other person have doubts too? I'm always pretty leery of like when someone has been dating for multiple years and it hasn't turned into what it is that you've wanted after a certain period of time anyway. So I kind of feel like I would have to know a little bit more about that situation. And
it's to get married, but it hasn't happened, girl. I don't think it will.
What are you doing?
Well, I don't think it will. These situationships, I never had one until I got out here. And I was like, what is this?
Why is this person why have they hesitated? Why has it been so long?
It doesn't change.
Doubts, I wouldn't waste too much time.
I assumed you were married with that question, but if you haven't, there are different things. You just have to put your boundaries up and stick by them. So if you want to get married and they're not the one, once you express it, like your actions need to follow up. I'm going to give you an example. So I have a daughter, right? And I don't have to beat her, but like my husband's a bit soft and I'm not. And it's not that I yell or I scream, but if I say something and this is what I want, or a boundary with her, even though she's 4, if she doesn't do it, she understands there's consequences. So my 4-year-old daughter has trust in me, right? And I'm just using this example because the guys that you're with, they need to trust that you mean what you say. So if you always wanted this and that's where you want to go and you're telling them, like, if we don't do this, X will happen. Like you either need to accept, which is also feminine energy. You need to accept how they are, which is they're not interested in marriage. That doesn't mean they don't want to be with you. They don't like you, but that's not their ultimate goal. And you have to decide if you want to continue with that, have kids outside of that construct or whatever it is. Accepting is feminine energy and you taking that part. But the other part's like, if it's not, like being firm with what you want, saying, but you need to, take the time to express it, a softer way is better than a harder way when it comes to the masculine energy. But then your actions need to follow up. So if that's what you want and you said this is what you want, or else you have to leave, like you need to do what you have to do. I have to say with my relationships, when I left is when they like you more. Men are a little weird like that. when you leave, they like you more. I don't know why, but I've always just like, oh, I know what I want. And so if it's not you, like, no hard feelings. I've known since I was a young kid that I'm not everyone's cup of tea, So from a young age, I was comfortable if, like, you don't like me, like, oh, okay, because I know someone will. Other people will. That's fine. I just got really comfortable with that. So I would just leave, but then I found that, like, that would actually make the relationship go where I wanted it to go once I left, when they saw that I was firm and my boundaries. And and one of them said, I stood by my convictions, and they want you to actually stand by your convictions to see what you're made of. So we're gonna go on because oh yeah, you're only 26. Yeah. Hey, listen, I am in my late 30s. I'm not trying to necessarily get married. Like I said, this is the first time I've just been dating. And, like, I go on a date like every week with, like, different guys. Sometimes it's someone who, like, one guy calls me every 3 weeks. I think he gets lonely, and I'm like, hey, I like going out. Like, COVID's been lonely. Let's meet at a restaurant. You know what I mean? So, like that, I'm not trying to get married either. Lauren helps people get married, though. So her advice is going to be geared, like, on a big thing. So with that, we had some ideas we want to go on to. And one of the things that she really focused on when she works with women is that they get bad advice overload. You want to talk about that, Lauren?
Yes. So lots of bad advice that I've come across. I can remember one time, what can be so confusing is that you will look sometimes at people and you'll think, okay, well, this person is married, or maybe they were married, so they know what they're talking about. Surely they're going to give me good advice too. But what you may not understand is, like, that person maybe got married in a different time period, a different generation. They maybe married someone who, maybe was the first person that showed them interest. Maybe they got married when they were 19. They don't understand. Doesn't mean that they understand dating. Again, we talked about earlier how, somebody can get divorced, but can they get married again? That's, versus somebody who could get divorced and they don't even know how they ended up married in the first place. Could they do it again? If they can do it again, that's a skill. So, I remember there was this one person who told me, there was so many bad pieces of advice, but there was one woman who was like, oh, be very careful about giving your number out to someone. Don't give your number out if they're not serious. And I hit her with the side eye. I was like, wait a minute, how would you know if someone was serious if you didn't give your number out and you got to know them? Like, I would just sit back and think about some of these things that I would get told when I was younger and I was more naive. And I was like, you know what? I see why there's so many single people around me. People who are perpetually single. They don't know. They have so much bad advice that they're listening to. And it's keeping them stuck. It's keeping them passive. I would hear people say things like, don't dress up too much. You'll look desperate. Like, no, actually,
It's in the church, man.
Oh dear. Weird stuff that I would hear. I'm like,
yeah,
look
your best, boo boo. Look your best.
I'm gonna have to move in silence after a while, because I kind of had to shut off all of that noise that wasn't based on anything but maybe somebody's old traditions that they were following, or it didn't come from the Bible. That was for sure, but it was just advice that would keep you passive. Just don't try to be seen. Like, don't go up and introduce yourself to someone. You don't need to do that. You just need to sit back here. You'll be seen. People know that you'll be visible to people. No. Actually, I am going to go and increase my network and meet people, because that's how you get in different circles. That's how you build that network, and you can get closer to what it is that you want. I did also notice I noticed that I had a dating life, but I was moving in silence. So people didn't quite know what I was doing. They were curious, they were talking, but they didn't know what was going on. So sometimes I would get weird comments like, "What are you looking for?" They're just trying to figure something out. And most times I would just say, "Oh, that's that." I learned after a while. Oh, I kind of keep that to myself. I don't really discuss my dating situation. But there are a few times that I did answer that question, and it wasn't like it was support. I felt supported. Sometimes it was almost like it was, well, I didn't get that. What makes you think that you're gonna you're gonna get that? And I'm like, wait a minute, I wasn't trying to defend myself here by telling you.
Right.
I didn't know it was gonna turn into that. So I noticed like it seemed to be like this underlying kind of um thing that people had where, okay, you could want the best for you, but others may not necessarily want that same thing that you want for you. Others maybe who didn't know how to, maybe they didn't get what they wanted, or maybe they're I don't want to say it like that. Maybe they didn't know that.
No, say it.
Oh,
Say it.
maybe they didn't know how to create options and have a dating life and pick what they wanted. And so to see somebody else who uh is doing that, to them it's like, who do you think you are? And so you have to be very careful about sharing with everyone. Everybody doesn't need to know what your standards are. Everybody doesn't need to know, because only you're going to want the most and the best for you more than anybody else is going to want for you. And it just seemed to me like there's almost a huge interest in telling women your standard is too high.
Right.
Versus your
Never.
not be too high. Actually, I don't necessarily see that when it comes to men. When I see men being pushed, I'll say pushed onto women. Sometimes you wonder, well, wait a minute, this person, you start to learn about this person doesn't really, they may not even be really ready to be someone's husband. But why are they being pushed on me as if they do meet qualifications or basic qualifications to be a husband? Well, they're being helped. They're being helped to go for the best that they can get. Meanwhile, for you, the woman, there seems to be this interest in telling you like, oh no, you need to just be kind of happy with what you
Oh
with
my God. Okay. We're going to have to talk about this because, whoo. Okay. So we're going to segue a little bit into you need to lower your standards or you can't get a high value man. We're going to talk about that right now. Okay. Because I don't know how Kevin Samuels ended up on my YouTube, but I actually met a guy who sent me one of his videos. One guy that I politely blocked. He didn't get the polite disconnection. Because he was like, what's your high value? Da, 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 da. And I was like, I'm not about to tell you what that is, right? Because you're wounded, okay? You're wounded. Like, you're looking at me like, what's my value? Why do you feel that, like, da, 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 like, that you need to approach someone like that in order to feel validated? Why do you feel like there's so much about that comment that says about you're not a confident person, that you're deserving of love? Remember, I'm a healer, so I look at things of like woundedness and not feeling deserving of love, but I cut that off. Like, just because I'm a healer doesn't mean I'm a punk. But we're just gonna do a side segment into this, especially for Black women. And there is a discrepancy in earning. The masculine role is the provider role. It is what it is. Either you as the woman's gonna take the provider role and be the masculine energy, and you don't want that. I was like taking a more of that role in the last relationship, and I was like, at the end, you just don't respect what like where you end up because you want them to be more in it, and it's like, oh, they can't do that. But not just that, like we have to take into account there is a discrepancy in earnings. Okay. So if you're only exclusively dating Black men as a successful Black woman, when they say you need to do this, 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 and this if you want one, well, let me give you the stats. Only 32% of Black men are married. So the Census Bureau did a huge study from 1960 to 2016, and the census study says, it's steady decline and only 32% get married. That's 3 out of 10. So if you're a Black woman and you only date Black men, well, that's only 3 out of 10. And that has been declining since 1960. Census Bureau has all this data. And so sometimes you might live in an area where it's all Black people, like you're in Alabama, it's segregated. Well, everyone I know is Black and married. Well, you got to understand, depends on where you are in the country, you're going to see more prevalence than not. But I'm only saying this because if they're getting real picky about what you need to bring in order to get married, well, when it comes to that particular group, only 3 in 10 are getting married, so they can ask for the best. I'm just saying, like, I'm not even, like, once you know those numbers and statistics, they can ask for that. Because they got 100% of the women who are only dating like them, though they can ask for you to be beautiful, skinny, charming, or just sit back and take what you get. Like they literally can if that's your choice. I've always been open to dating everyone. And so I've never had to settle or do anything because my dating pool is multiple people. And of course, my preference are Black men, and I'm dating Black men now. So just because you're open does not mean you don't. But it's very interesting how I've never had to ever feel I had to settle. Even when I didn't wear dresses and makeup and was in my field, like I never had to because the numbers were on my side. So we're going to talk about, that settling down, well, if you only choose this and only a small 3 out of 10, you're actually setting yourself up for failure, to be honest, because I would never do anything where it's 70% likely not to get what I wanted. I wouldn't. Like, I'm just too strategic for that. But they can say that if that's the only group that you're trying to choose from. They literally can. The numbers are on their side, not yours. So I just want to say that. So on one hand, I'm not even blaming a lot of Black men saying that because they can say that. If you want me to do it, because I'm with these other dudes and I don't have to get married. I'm not even looking for it. You know what I mean? It's not even in the psyche or the culture of, like I said, it's been on a steady decline since 1960. So they can ask for whatever they want and tell you to lower your standards, and they can get whatever they want because
they will never tell you. It only benefits them to tell you that. They're never going to tell you, open your pool. They're never going to tell you that because, yeah, who does it benefit? It doesn't help you to get what you really want.
I had to segue into that because a lot of. Sorry, what were you saying, Lauren?
I was just going to say there are so many women who don't know that.
No, they don't understand at all.
They don't know, and I see them. They hit like 30s, 35, close to 40. And they're like, "Oh, I want a family. I want to be married. I want to have a family." And it's like, okay, but are you even dating? And now you think that it's you. You think you have all these problems, all these things wrong with you, and it's actually. You need to open your options.
Yeah, no one wants to talk about that. You want to say? Do you want to? What's that?
Nothing wrong with them.
No,
these are women who are beautiful. They're saying they want a family. They keep running into some of the same issues over and over again. Men who are the men that they're saying is their preference is not super marriage minded, or they're just stuck dating. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's time that you prioritize being with men who want the same things you want, who want marriage.
Yeah. So we're gonna segue. So my take on the whole KS, like he is so low vibrational for me, and I don't even deal with people who are at that vibration level. Like at all, like in personal life, if you're like that, like you wouldn't come near me and I wouldn't come near you. Like we wouldn't be on the same wavelength. But I want to say, once you know the numbers, what he's saying, if that's the only group you're chasing after, is not a lie. If you open your options up, then you do have more options, and you don't have to be the most perfect thing ever, because then the numbers are on your side, right? And it is something that I think women need to talk about. Like, I've always known that. So and I'm from the West Coast too. You got to understand, depending on the part of the country, like dating interracially is not a big deal at all. Like where I'm from in Vegas, like if you're in the Southwest, literally everyone has dated somebody who's from Mexico. Like you have had a Mexican boyfriend if you're from Vegas, Arizona, or you know what I mean? Not Texas, but you know what I mean? Like that is part of it. Like it's very diverse. It's very integrated. Okay, so the further I go back east into the South, it gets less of that. So I can understand that depending on where you are, like that's not even like you're not even aware it's an option. But so yeah, do I not like the guy? No. Do I like how he's basically telling mostly successful Black women that you have to lower your standards? No, because you don't. But it's not wrong if you look at what you're dealing with and who the number and like every time. And I'm gonna put this like this just look at Black marriage statistics. Like this is known and it's been a trend. This isn't a fluke. It is like a consistently downward decline. So if only 30% of the men are getting married, ladies, listen. Okay, they can be as choosy as they want to be. Okay, and if that's your only option, that's fine. I say this as someone, every guy I'm dating now is like a Black man, so it's not like I'm hating or anything, right? And there's someone that I'm comfortable with that they may have the finances that can fit my lifestyle, but like I'm very aware that you know what I mean. I'm not going to push them for marriage. Like you're not, you know, that's not necessarily the group that's like really, it's not high on their list. So just know it going forward. I think you can make better decisions about what you're doing. So if you guys didn't know that, post in the comments if you knew that or didn't know that and what you think about that. You think I'm wrong? That's cool if you think I'm wrong. Put it. Say it if you think I'm wrong. But when the numbers are on your side because opening yourself up, you ain't got to change anything. Because there's some guy who sits there every single night playing video games who wish they had someone on their side. And FYI, just because they play video, like everyone plays it. So don't think of some goofy dude who's like, you know, doesn't look attractive. That's like every guy I know like play video games. So yeah, let me know. Oh, Guapo, you'll get your healing. I like how you guys made the distinction on getting numbers up networking. I'm from Texas and I've dated white. But yes, if you're from the Southwest or the West Coast, like everyone dates everybody and people really don't understand that or what that means, which is why I'm like, yeah, dating other people is normal. Like everyone does it. Like you rarely date from the same pool. She said white, Black, Spanish, and Haitian. I married white simply because I kept my options open. And listen, I met my ex-husband within 8 months and we were exclusive within 4. And I knew we'd be married pretty soon after that. So there are some people who are just more marriage minded. And so if you're open, it can be like marriage and successful Black women doesn't have to be this antagonistic thing. It just depends on your choices and understanding what's out there. Right on.
I think what can be so confusing too is that you have some of the older generation of women who will also put the pressure on an African American woman, and they'll say, "Oh, you know, why don't you give him a chance? You have to give him a chance." It's almost like pity dating.
You don't have to give it. He's a grown man, and he needs to act like it.
No, you don't, and you don't hear that like coming from men. Oh, just give her a chance. No, they're not doing that. They're gonna go for exactly what it is that they want. And so you need to do the same. Put yourself in the best position to do the same thing.
Oh, Guapo, do you even want to study this or do we want to keep moving? He says you're wrong. What? Is the statistic wrong? Do you want me to place the statistic in the box so you can read it? Or what? Or you think women should lower their standards? Or you think Kevin Samuels is a great guy? You can you can definitely go ahead and toss that out, sir. But the marriage statistics you should not be surprised at. We have I've been looking into these, 77% of Black children born out of wedlock. Like it shouldn't be a surprise that maybe 3 in 10 actually get married. Like this shouldn't be, oh, what? Really? None of this should be a surprise. But I'm Black, and if I was single, I would totally have no problem dating. She says what or whoever. Yeah, it's whatever. Like it doesn't have to necessarily. Mine was Italian, but I'd prefer it if he was a little Black on the inside. Grew up in a public school or something. The wide world out there. All we're just saying is if the numbers are on your side or are they not on your side? Know it and be strategic. What's that? What's that, Lauren?
Oh, I was just open your options. Go.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to go for what you want. And open your options. Put yourself in the best position possible to get the things that you want. And for El Wapo, I hope I want you to get the best for you too. That's what I'm gonna say.
Oh, that's really sweet. Yeah, of course. I mean, everyone, like, I've always, yes, we do have, yes, that is the preference. Absolutely. She says, I'm challenged with finding marriage-minded men that are Black. Like I said, the statistic, and I'll post it in the group. I mean, it's sort of, it's known outside of our community, but not within our community. But that's a problem. You can't have other people outside our groups knowing more about us than us. That's why we're constantly at a disadvantage. But yeah, 3 in 10, 32%. And the Census Bureau, the data was like steady decline. So it's not like all of a sudden, it's like, no, it followed this pattern. We have all this data and it went down, 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 down. So only 3 in 10 marry. It's just something. Some people are like, well, all my friends are like, just because all your friends are does not mean that applies to everyone. So I'll put that stat in the thing. It's like on, and then Lauren, while I'm getting that stat, I'm putting it in there if anybody wants to read it. You want to talk about the idea that some people, oh, we're almost sort of done. Like you should wait to be pros. Love is all you need. You know, like you should wait to be chosen.
Love is all you need. That's another piece of bad advice that I remember getting. No, love is not all you need. I think we have to look at, women have to be more strategic about what they're choosing. Yes, love is important, but you also have to be clear about what you want. Do you want to have kids? Do you want to be a stay-at-home mom at some point? What kind of area do you want to live in? What kind of neighborhood do you want to live in? What kind of resources do you want to have available for you and your family? These things cost. So you have to think about the cost of having certain resources available to you. So that means that if better resources are in a better area, better environment, safer environment, if that's going to be more expensive, you're going to have to factor that into your options that you're choosing to date. And maybe I'll leave it there.
Oh, you want to just leave that?
If you're looking for more of a middle, in America, I'll say if you're looking for more of a middle class situation or upper, you're going to have to think about how someone provides. What can they provide? You're going to have to look at numbers and math. So it's love is wonderful, but that's not the only. It doesn't stop there. And I have heard some women saying things like, "Oh, as long as you have love, that's all that matters." And I'm like, stop spreading that. Stop telling that to women. Stop, especially younger women who may not know any better, may not understand the cost of things. I mean, you can look at the state of the economy now and what's happening to people. You need to be strategic even in looking at long-term costs of how you want to live.
Mm-hmm.
Open your options.
So the Negesti, some of y'all screen names are just little. The Negesti. No, love is not all you need to make a marriage work. You need to get down to the practical details. And probably the more practical details you get before you marry, I bet you it works out better. And so anything else you want to talk about as bad advice, or like waiting to be chosen, or sitting back versus making the network before we, and this is just this talk. We're actually going to do some more on like Clubhouse, and just to get out everything we know, to see if we can help anybody out there who isn't where they want to be in their dating and relationship life.
I would just say it does you no good to be naive in this dating world that we live in. It does you no good. It will eat you up. It will chew you up, and you will not even know what happened to you. Your head will be spinning. So
Yeah.
we live in a time period now. You have all kinds of people on the dating market. It's in your best interest as a woman. It's in your best interest to go into it with data, facts, knowing what's going on around you, being
Mm-hmm.
self-aware and proactive, so
Mm-hmm.
that you can put yourself in the best position to get the kind of person you want. Okay, it's not a fairy tale. Like this is real life, and you need to be very serious and strategic about who it is that you're planning on ending up with.
Let's talk about strategy. So I will say I always instinctively knew that, which is sort of, spirit was always guiding me. So when I went out to DC, yeah, the jobs are good, but I literally was like, no, I'm going to find a man. So do you know what I mean? Like I was there, like, look, you didn't have to get too much deeper on why I was like, those are the kind of men I want that I feel would, educated, white collar job, making the money that I cared about making. So that's where I'm going to go place myself, right? And then I've dated a lot of people who are real estate investors, which is higher end. And it's not that I'm necessarily special, but if that's your circle, right? If those are the clubs you go to, if those are the meetings you go to, right? Like this is not rocket science. If you like doctors, where are the doctors at? Like this is not like you can be so minimal effort with this. Like you don't have to do so much. Like go to those conferences with doctors if that's what you like.
Tech conferences, you know that they're in tech, you know that they're making tech salaries. That's one thing that you can do.
And like, listen, you have an advantage if you're like a cute little feminine girl. Like, you have an advantage in tech. They love that stuff because it's such a masculine dominated environment. Like, it doesn't take long to get swept up. They're like, you're cute. Yeah, no, they're not like desperate, but like, it's easy to be noticed and like at least have the play the field more. But and so like I just want to say like being strategic about that. Like, it's something I've always instinctively done. Even me, where I'm at now, like I'm in a location that has 3 HBCUs. So like the men tend to be black and educated. Like that's sort of what I like. But I'm around where there's enough of the numbers where I knew I'd be chill. Like, I don't need them all. Like you just need one. You just need one, like at a time. You know what I mean? Like for dating, yeah. But like if you go to something serious, and so I think that's something that I've always had to tell my girlfriends. Like, because I don't know. I guess I just had some instincts about this, like on getting what you wanted. And half of it, I'd be like my one friend, she liked guys who were like stoners who skateboarded, and we're in Vegas, and I was like, well, why don't you move to Colorado? Like they're all out there snowboarding. Like what are you waiting on? What are you in Vegas for? Vegas is cool, but these guys aren't like that. You know what I mean? They're a little different out in Vegas. But I don't want to talk bad about them, so I'm just gonna say it's different. But like it's just like, yeah, like it's just very interesting to me that like instinctively knowing to place yourself in the environment, not seeing the women placing themselves in that environment. Like if you really want like this thing, why aren't you moving or making the moves to go to this one place? If you're in a small town and this is what you get, and you want someone who's this and that, but in this small town, this is all you get. When are you going to make the moves to be in the environment of where the men and people that you want to be around and associate with are at the level you want them to, right?
And that's where I feel like women can, if they're not aware of something like that, they may get more bad advice, telling them like
to settle.
Oh well, there's just this is what you're getting. This is the best you can do. No, actually, the best you could do could be somewhere else. You may just need to go, change your environment, get around the type of people that you want to be around, that you say you want, and go network in those groups.
Yeah.
It's really not. It might not be you. You just need to change your environment.
But they'll tell you to settle if you don't open that environment up.
Yeah.
And that's your choice.
They'll never tell you that you might need to just get up and move somewhere else. It's all, you need to be your own advocate. You need to be you need to not be passive and sit there and not make moves. You need to make moves, and you need to, some of the stuff you've got to be keeping to yourself as well, because you'll get some negative feedback from people who just don't get it.
And that depends on you as well. Like it depends on your circle. Like
Yeah.
my group of friends, we're all dating, so we're supportive of each other. And we call each other up to be like, okay, this is what happened. I don't know about this one, but right? But we're going through this process together. But if you're around people who aren't trying to make them like, listen, I've been in situations many times where I was trying to advance and the men and women around me were not. So I'm quite aware, Lauren, of those situations where you're making moves and they're not, and they get a little salty and side eye because Lisa's doing this. Well, Lisa's working for what she wants. You're not, and that's fine that you're okay with where you're satisfied with the level of effort to get what you want, but I'm putting in the level of effort to get what I want. So I, definitely what Lauren says, like there are people who are salty. But so we're gonna sort of wrap this up. Lauren, you want to tell us where they are? Do you have any last questions you want? Because Lauren does do this and get women married. I'm just having a good time. I've done my work. I got out of a relationship. I've just been healing, learning what I did wrong and how to not do that again in the future, like bringing in a different energy, like dating, but being more strategic about it, like being very, very, strategy. Lisa's good at strategy. So that's what I've been doing. And I find other people aren't, but I'm like, oh, if you knew this and this and this, like you wouldn't be having that problem, right? And most of the people who follow me are Black women who are also very successful. And I was like, we're diamonds in a different class. We have to move a little differently than maybe what we thought we had to move to. So that's why I'm bringing this out, because like we can have fun and we can dominate. We just have to make particular strategic moves depending on what you ultimately want. But Lauren, you want to write down any last questions? And Lauren, you want to write if they want to follow, reach out to you, which I recommend because I work with Lauren. Like our hour-long conversations about what's going on and cleaning things up. She takes me to the next level. Girl has me networking with people on Clubhouse. Like the girl knows how to take it to the next level. Okay, like we're not doing basic stuff over here. But you guys know me. I don't do anything basic. Like it's always going to be better, faster, and a lot more thoughtful than everyone else out there. Because that's what Melanin Magic brings to the table. When we excel, we really excel. So, Lauren, you want to give me your information so I can put it in the chat of where they can find you, which I recommend for everyone.
I just put in the chat.
Okay, good. Did it come up? You put, okay, it's private chat to me, so I'll write it for everyone. Also, guys, I will be doing a workshop on like divine feminine energy on my spirituality platform. And I'm a little different. Like I go into like mine's just dating. Lauren's dating and marriage, like, which is cool. So be on the lookout. I'll post that as well. So a question is, I have a question, Lauren. And I have a question for Lisa. If you just ended a relationship, I got divorced recently, how long should you wait before dating? It really just depends. When I ended my relationship, it was just clear that we had went through a season. We were together for 8 years. We had went through a season. There was a lot of growth. There was a lot of misunderstanding. It was initiated by me because I was not happy in the situation. And when I tried to see if I can get him to resolve it, his level of emotional intelligence was at the point where I think he was okay with not being as happy because we had a kid. And so you just sort of stay and you struggle through it. And mine was like, listen, I don't want to teach her to just sit here and struggle and not to go for what she wants. I don't want to model that behavior, that it's okay to settle for someone else. Like you should always accept and take your happiness. So by the time it finally ended, I was very much in my mind, like, okay, like we just aren't growing the same way. I'm here. They're here. We're not bridging that gap. So it was a little easier for me to disconnect in that cord and go forward, right? But I think a lot of people don't have that clarity of why it's going and how it's just you're just different people after 8 years. And so it's a lot harder. And if that is you, I would say like take the time to untangle those bonds. And also like if you can, this was really beneficial. I actually spoke with my ex-husband maybe a year later. And we talked about what went wrong. Like, I'm like, no emotion, just really logical. Like, I saw this. And we actually, I found out that it was our dynamic, our masculine, feminine energy that got twisted that really caused the issue, but it just widened a divide that was already there. So I would say if you can take the time to just untangle, if it's not very clear why you're leaving, if you still want him to do this and you know what I mean? If you're still tangled up in it until you get that untangled. But I also say if you can get to the emotional healing place to be able to actually go over it and write it down or even have a conversation with them and like really understand like what went wrong and what could have went right, I think that'll be very helpful, because then you'll grow from the experience and you'll be ready to go, okay, I've learned, let me like bring this newer, smarter, like more emotionally mature person to the next relationship. And then you'll know then, because you're ready, because you went through your lessons learned. I think if you haven't gone through the lessons learned and you haven't figured it out, you're going to repeat them. That's what I say. What do you say, Lauren?
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that last part.
It's someone going through a divorce. So yeah, it just depends how tangled and how clear it was on why you separated. The clearer it is that like, you can't widen the divide, the easier. But if it wasn't that clear, like I think you have to get to the point where you know. Basically, for me, when I know what went wrong, what went right, and I took that time to do that as self-analysis, was when I was better, because then I wanted to take that new awareness of what I learned into my next. Like, okay, I'm going to be like an even better person now that I know and I catch it. But if you don't take that time to get the lessons learned, I don't think it's going to work out. I think you're going to repeat the thing again if you don't get that clarity. And that just takes sitting down when you're ready to take the time to analyze, like go through it. Journal if you have to. Journaling's great to get out what's inside.
Yeah, I guess I would say when you're not so emotional about it anymore, is when you can start to branch out. But that would be something that I would let Lisa kind of cover that. I have divorce, but
just time to go. Like it was like 8 years. So I tell people it's like a full season. Like it's not like we're in and out, but that 8 years is long enough for like two people. Like I was 28 when I met them, 28 to 36, you can change, you're still growing and maturing into the woman you're going to be. With that, for me, came success. It became the ability to put work in and do training to learn to excel. And so me excelling, like that was part of my skill set and growth. And then I was a bigger person at the bigger platform, loving what I was doing. And someone wanted me to be less of that person. And you have a choice on what you're going to choose and allow. And my choice was to be big and be bold and go for what I wanted. And so I'm just going to say, regardless of how hard it is, that's never the wrong choice. No. So yeah, this is gonna self-destruct on my sub 30K group and my YouTube channel, because it's not real estate investing related. I just know there's people in the audience who don't mind looking, so I'm gonna delete it. So if you want to get in touch with Lauren, go ahead and send her an email. I put it in the chat, or let me put it in the banner. Or you can get in touch with her if you want to check out her services. Let me take that off, and then services for coaching. So I would recommend it if you're single. Like for me, like I said, being divorced, it's obvious that like, okay, let me increase my skill set. Like it's obvious to us, I think. I don't think it's so obvious to single women that they should try it. But in this age of COVID, in this age of like online apps, like you need to play or be played. You need to know what's going on. Otherwise, there's so many women who are unhappy. And I was like, oh, they don't know. They didn't seek out that knowledge or information. And like, even if it's just one consultation, that's enough to like get you up on game, so that they like the men are winning. It's a game and the men are winning. That's all I'm going to say. What would you say that's accurate, Lauren? They're winning.
I would say that, and I would say that they have information. They're helping they have more of a camaraderie, I think, with helping each other than the women do, because the women will be so clueless, and they're not. They have so much bad advice that they're being given, and the men are just like, they're not getting all that bad advice. They're out there doing what they want to do. They're out there going for what they want, and they're count. I don't want to say it. There's a lot of people who are counting on you to lower your standards.
Waiting. Sharks waiting. They've been running and they're running circles around me. Don't even think, ladies, I didn't fall for it, because I didn't realize how much of a hunter the men were. They're hunters, and they know how to play the game. And I thought they were like me, just sort of being just. I'm like, oh shoot.
They will count on you not knowing
Mm-hmm.
that you have options. They'll count on you.
Yes.
They'll count on thinking that you will stay in the same situation.
Cool. Oh.
That too, you're not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. That's what they're counting on, so they can continue to kind of keep you on a string, or whatever, not giving you what it is that you're looking for. So
God knows he's laughing because it's true, man. They're like, I think we've been acting like, oh, we're the smart one. No,
you can't afford to be naive.
We've been running circles. And I'm looking, and that's why I'm putting this out here. Like, look, ladies, okay, look. You ain't gotta go to chaos to find this out. We got it here, all right? But it's all about setting yourself up for success, which some of us just navigate a little bit more clearly, but sometimes we just don't know what we don't know. So that's why we're putting this out, right, Lauren?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And dating should be fun.
That's what I always say. Mm-hmm. It should be fun. It shouldn't be so stressful. Otherwise, you will end up going back into. You'll end up staying in on the weekends, every weekend, and not going out and meeting people. That's not what we want. You just need to be a little bit more self-aware of what's going on around you. That's it. And then you can add the dating into your life. Not that's the only focus. That's not what we're saying, but you can make that a part of your social life.
Wealthy Firefighter says, night after night, cases prove that modern women have unrealistic. They don't. They only have unrealistic if they date in one pool. We're literally telling you to go to the right pools. If they stay in one pool, then like I said, they say jump, say how high, right? If you're in a pool where only 3 out of 10 men get married, they could say whatever they want because numbers are on their side. They got 70% more women who'll do it. You know what I mean? So that's all I would say to that. What would you say, Lauren? But if you open your pool up, if it's the ocean, it's not unrealistic at all.
Well, he's saying, okay, the comment, modern women have unrealistic dating standards. I'd have to know what are the dating standards. We didn't even get into that. So we didn't even get into that when we get this.
Oh, that's a good one. Like the kind of people I'm manifesting and attracting. Do you want to answer?
I don't know what these dating.
No. Wealthy firefighter. I was like that you put wealthy firefighter just right there in the name.
Oh.
Are you really wealthy, or is it like your mindset's wealthy? You have a wealthy mindset?
I'm not
wealthy bank account?
I won't touch it. I'd have to know what these unrealistic dating standards are.
Yeah, they're like I said, it's like the smaller your pool, that's when it becomes unrealistic. The bigger your pool, then it's like, yeah, you can have that. I just saw some billionaires marry some regular basic women just now this year because, you know what I mean? Like those women opened up their options. All right, so here's one answer, or it's just not coming through. All right, guys. So yeah, we are gonna go. I hope that was enjoyable. That was, I guess, for the people following me on my real estate investing platform. Listen, I am a businesswoman, but yeah, I'm also like doing my healing work and searching for love and dating, and that's something that there's no reason why. There's no reason why I can't talk about that as if it's not a part of my life, right? And just keep it real estate or keep it that, because there's other people out there too who are building their businesses. Basically, all my women friends are mostly Black women or white women who are 6-7 figure business owners. So, we got to talk about that because love is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. Oh
man. Who are you dealing with, wealthy firefighter?
Yeah.
Like,
what's your problem?
No, book a consult. I want to talk to you. I would love to learn more about what you're talking about.
I'm going to keep saying this. Like, the only time this comes into play is like if you're only dating one group of guys who don't marry, then they can be super choosy and picky. Okay? If I was only dating Black men who only 3 out of 10 get married, then if they say they want things that are perfect, they can get it. Right? And I'll have to take what I can get because 70% are not married or trying to get married. Right? As soon as you open your options, wealthy firefighter, as soon as you open that up and you get men from all different cultures and race who marry at a higher rate, all of a sudden finding exactly what you want, it's not that hard, especially if you care about finances. If finance is a big part, Well, there's one group that makes the least amount on average than any other group. So as soon as you go to other groups, you start class mobility very easily. Like it's not even hard. It's just the numbers game. So
Yeah,
I'm sorry, wealthy firefighter, you think that it's unrealistic. It's only unrealistic if they only focus on one small, tiny group that doesn't, but if as soon as they open it up, that's literally all they have to do. And every single one, like, anecdotal's not everything, but everyone I know who's opened their options, we're not sitting here sad or calling Kevin Samuels. It's only a certain group who's only focusing on one other group that is calling him looking sad and not figuring this out. And that's why we're trying to give the numbers as well as like some tips. What would you say, Lauren?
I would really like to talk to this wealthy firefighter.
I don't think no. He's one of the lawyer standards crew.
Yeah.
The lawyer standard crew cannot understand that as soon as we open our options, we don't have to lower our standards. Like they don't understand that. Like they're like, what? Are white guys checking for you? Yes. Like Hispanic, Asian, like what? Yeah, you can date the rainbow if that's what you want. But they don't know that, so they're just like, no, you gotta do it. You're not the only one out here. What's that?
What is the too high standard? We didn't even talk about. We didn't get into many standards, but
I disagree. But it was a great discussion. Thank you. I hope you got some value out of it, of our perspective of what's working for us. Okay, and I love how you respectfully disagreed and didn't get all in your feelings about that. So I appreciate that from you. Because some of these people, they get really in their feelings when you say things they don't like. And it's really nice to have like an adult conversation because, I'm not a kid anymore. So we're grown women over here. So yeah, guys, hope that was helpful. We're going to do some more like this. I do, post sometimes on my platform. I don't know. Maybe I'll leave it up in the real estate investing group. I put really in big letters that it was like about divine feminine energy and dating as successful Black women. So we'll see if like a lot of people are like, why'd you post that here? If they're cool with it and they liked it, then I'll keep it up. But you can always get in touch with us. So nice discussion. Thank you guys for keeping it really mature. And Lauren, any last words before we go?
Women, keep your standards. Make sure keep your standards. Again, learn what the data, look up the data that we talked about, and seriously think about expanding those options. And that's all that's what I'm going to end with.
All right. Talk to you guys later. Bye.
Thanks for having me.